Hey everybody, so let's talk apples. About 2 weeks ago, maybe, I got 10 bushels of apples for myself and some of my friends. So I did not order all of those 10. I only was 2 out of those 10 bushels. So a bunch of my friends and I bought 10 bushels of apples from another friend of mine. She actually gets, I think she got 60 bushels this year of apples from her brother who lives in a Mennonite Amish community in Missouri. And so every year she goes and gets a bunch of apples for them, and then she sells the apples here. And really great price. I got my apples. They're more of the saucing kind of apples, so they had like some bruises on them and stuff like that. Quite honestly though, they were still apples that were good enough that could have been sold in a store, because most of the time we get apples in the store that are bruised too. But she had 2 different kinds of boxes. She had the better apples, which would have been more for like slicing or eating, that they were like pretty much perfect, and that was $18 a bushel. And then she had the sauce apples, which were like $15 a bushel. And quite frankly, living in Florida, I never was around apple trees or anything like that. I did actually one time when I worked for a company out of Virginia, I went up there for a training session. They had like a group, camaraderie type thing for all the employees, and it was like at an apple orchard, and I got to pick some apples, which was really cool, like right off the tree. But we bought the bushels, and when I say bushels, they were like these giant, I don't know, 2 feet long by 1.5 feet high or something like that. Basically produce boxes that they bring like all the stuff to the stores in. They were huge. I have never seen so many apples in one box in my life. And so it was a really great price. Probably got 100, 150-ish apples for $15. It was awesome. So a bunch of friends and I, we decided to have an applesauce making day. And so we made, hold on, I got some jars in my hand here. We made applesauce. And I bought the quart jars because, quite honestly, I have 3 daughters and we go through a lot of applesauce. So even buying like the little ones or the pint or whatever just really was kind of pointless, because we'd probably go through one of those in a day. This would last us at least like 2.5 servings of applesauce. And I am going to have another video, or where I show like the process where we made the apples. So check the link in the comments for that, or in the description for that. But it was a really cool process. It was myself and 3 other women basically spent the day together on a Sunday making applesauce, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. We went through 4 bushels of apples and made basically the equivalent of 18 gallons of applesauce only from 4 bushels. We actually all came home with another bushel of apples because we had all bought 2 bushels. So what we did is we basically took all the sauce apples and made those into applesauce, and then we separated the better ones into throughout each of us, so we could do whatever we wanted. Obviously we've probably all, I don't know about the other women, but I know myself and one of the other women have done baking with it. I do just honestly plain baked apples for the girls, and they love it with just a little bit of cinnamon on it. My oldest daughter actually made her first apple pie the other day, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's been really nice. So besides the applesauce I made with the women, on my own at home, I have also made apple butter, and then just regular canned apples. I wanted to have some just canned apples because we do live in a camper, so having a whole bushel of apples sitting on your floor takes up a lot of space. So I can't really just have apples laying around for forever. Plus, we don't use the AC all the time, and the apples were going to get soft and nasty if I didn't get them in a can pretty quickly. So this past week, I've been spent 2 of my days making canned apples and apple butter. And I did make actually more applesauce as well too. So at the end of it, 2 bushels of apples made me 27 quarts of applesauce, 12 jelly jars, basically, of apple butter, and then 8 quarts of regular, just plain old canned apples. The applesauce has no sugar, no nothing in it other than just apple, and my girls absolutely love it. They say it's the best tasting applesauce they've ever had. And I've had it, and I was planning on putting sugar and stuff like that in it because I thought they needed it. This is my first time ever canning apples, and or making applesauce. And I tasted it, I'm like, this doesn't need any sugar. This is super duper sweet. And I don't know if it's the apples we got or whatnot, but man, I don't know what kind of apples they get for store-bought, like regular store applesauce, because I've tasted the unsweetened applesauce before at stores, and it's not that great. This is unsweetened applesauce, and it tastes sweeter than the applesauce you get in the store that's sweetened. So it's kind of interesting that it's that way. But they have fresh, 27 quarts of fresh applesauce. The apple butter, this does have like cinnamon and nutmeg and water and apple cider vinegar, I believe, in it as well too. I forget all the stuff that I put in it, brown sugar and white sugar. So this is sugary. This is definitely sugary. But it's apple butter. It's supposed to be a different consistency than like applesauce and have different flavor. And then these, just the canned apples, I literally did 1 cup of sugar to 4 cups of water and boiled it, and then stuck the apples in it and let them cook, you know, not on boiling, but like on, just had the water warm for about 5 minutes, and then stuck them in the jars, and I canned them all. So we have the apples for use for different things. The girls actually this morning for breakfast had croissants with apple butter on them, and they really liked them and made me really happy. But it was very exciting for me because I have been canning stuff from my garden, and you know, lots of peppers. I've had lots of peppers, you know, different things that I've been canning from my garden. And, you know, my garden's pretty much done now. The season's kind of over. It was 40 degrees last night. And it's one of those things where it's so nice to be able to do this, to have like this kind of stuff in your house that you've done yourself. And yeah, it did definitely take time, but it's a nice learning experience. And also, well, I know probably the time ratio doesn't necessarily make it cheaper than what you get in the store. It's so much better quality. The apples were fresh from the community, and I think she'd maybe had them a week by that point, maybe 2. Like, she hadn't had them very long before we decided to buy some. And so it's one of those things, you can do so many things with these apples too. Like, you can bake a million things with apples or whatever. These are just the 3 things I chose because they're easy to store. There's something I can put in storage easily. That's not necessarily in the camper, but, you know, like in a shed or something, and have it nice and stored in there, stored nicely in there. But it's nice to be able to do this stuff for yourself. It's really nice too, because like in Florida, there were definitely like blueberry patches and things like that you could go to. But I feel like there's a lot of more self-sufficiency type things up here, in the sense of a lot more orchards that you can like go to that aren't necessarily completely commercial. And there's a lot more people in general that are of this kind of mindset. Where they do a lot of their own canning or processing of their foods or growing their own foods. The amount of farming Facebook groups that are just for this area alone are absolutely astronomical. And then people that, you know, have cattle in the area that'll, you know, the prices for buying like half a cow or a full cow or whatever for your family to be butchered and everything. You could do that in Florida too. The prices were a lot more expensive in Florida than they are up here. Probably because there's more cows than there are people in this county. But it's just really nice that this way of life with the apples, with whatever, like, you know, with more of the self-sufficiency, this is kind of more of the way of life up here. This is how people do it. And well, yes, plenty of people still go to Walmart. I still go to Walmart because they don't have Publix up here, which makes me very sad. But, you know, I still go to the grocery store, obviously plenty for other things, but it's nice to be able to have that option, to be able to grow my own garden and it be fairly successful. I had more success this year growing for the first time in Oklahoma than I ever had in Florida. But it's nice that there's a lot of other like-minded people that do this kind of thing, that you can, like our friend who gets the apples from her brother every year and everything like that. So it's kind of cool to see that and to have that kind of community where people do those things. And it's just a lot of fun doing. I do want to get like I think it's like the ball, like the mason jar ball, home preserving recipe cookbook or something. I'd love to get that. Because I want to learn all the things now. But just something fun that's been going on the homestead, guys. Like I said, I'll have the other video up about what we did to make the applesauce. And so that you can see that process. But it's a lot of fun, guys. I definitely highly suggest, if you're able to can your own stuff, especially applesauce. So much better. If you're anywhere that has apples or know anybody that can get apples, make your own applesauce. It does not take that much. You can use an Instapot, and it takes like 10 minutes. It's super easy. But it's pretty awesome, guys, and I'm really excited to have all the apple stuff in our food preps now, and it was a lot of fun. But this is my first year doing this, so it was definitely a learning process, but still a lot of fun. All right, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.